The moment I walked into my house and saw my clothes stuffed into trash bags by the garage, my heart sank like I just tripped down a staircase. My mother-in-law was in the living room, calmly explaining they needed space for my husband's ex, Daisy, because she was better for him. I'm Nora, 33, married to Benjamin for 3 years, and that day, my home turned into a war zone. This wasn't just about my stuff, it was about my place in my marriage, and I had to fight to hold on to it. Let's rewind. Benjamin and I live in a small 2-bedroom house in a suburban neighborhood, the kind with neatly trimmed lawns and kids playing tag in the cul-de-sac. We met 5 years ago at a mutual friend's backyard barbecue, laughing over undercooked burgers and our shared obsession with classic rock bands like the Eagles. Benjamin, 34, teaches high school history. He's warm, patient, and the kind of guy who remembers everyone's birthday, but he's hopeless at standing up to his parents. Conflict makes him freeze, which I've always worked around, until it started tearing us apart. I'm a freelance graphic designer, working from a cluttered desk in our spare room. I'm straightforward, maybe a bit stubborn, and I don't mind speaking up when something's wrong. That's probably why my in-laws think I'm difficult. My in-laws live 10 minutes away and have a knack for inserting themselves into our lives. Benjamin's mom, a retired nurse, runs her family like she's still barking orders in a hospital, sharp, critical, and never wrong. His dad, a soft-spoken mechanic, just goes along with her. They've always had a soft spot for Daisy, Benjamin's ex from college, who dated him for 4 years before they split 6 years ago. Daisy's a pediatric nurse, all warm smiles and polished charm, and to my in-laws, she's the daughter-in-law they dreamed of. Me. They call me too independent or too artsy, which is code for not Daisy. The trouble kicked off when Daisy moved back to town a month ago. She'd been working in another state but took a job at a local children's hospital. Suddenly, my in-laws couldn't stop talking about her. At every Sunday family dinner, it was, Daisy's helping at the community center, or Daisy sent us cookies. I tried to let it slide. Benjamin and Daisy hadn't spoken in years, and he said their breakup was mutual, just a case of drifting apart. But then my mother-in-law started inviting Daisy to family events, calling it catching up. Benjamin didn't put a stop to it, and I didn't push him, thinking it'd fizzle out. I was wrong. The real gut punch came on a Tuesday afternoon when I got home from a client meeting. My closet was half empty, my art supplies were missing, and my favorite novels were gone. I found them in trash bags by the garage, labeled Nora's junk, in my mother-in-law's sharp handwriting. She was in the guest room, measuring the space with a tape measure like she was staging a move-in. "What's going on?" I asked, my voice shaking. She didn't even look at me. "We're making room for Daisy. She's staying here for a while, and you don't need all this clutter." I was floored. This was my house, not some Airbnb for Benjamin's ex. Benjamin was still at school, grading papers, so I was alone, staring at my life packed into garbage bags. I called him, barely holding it together. "Your mom threw out my stuff to make room for Daisy. What's happening?" He sounded stunned, then guilty. "I had no idea, Nora. I'll talk to her." When he got home, his mom was still there, now rearranging the guest room like it was Daisy's personal suite. Benjamin tried to reason with her, but she cut him off. "Daisy's going through a tough time," she said. "She needs a place to stay, and frankly, she's always been better for you than Nora." I stood there, clutching a bag with my sketchbooks, feeling like a guest in my own marriage. My mother-in-law's words stung, but what hurt more was Benjamin's silence. He didn't defend me, just mumbled something about sorting it out later. That night, we had our first real fight in months. I wasn't mad at Benjamin, not deep down, but I was furious he'd let this happen. "Why didn't you tell them Daisy can't just move in?" I asked, pacing the kitchen. He ran a hand through his hair, looking drained. "I didn't know they'd go this far. I thought they were just being nice to her. I wanted to shake him. Being nice didn't mean throwing my life in the trash. Benjamin's always been stuck between me and his parents, never picking a side, and I realized if I didn't step up, this would keep happening. Another problem was piling on. My sister-in-law, Grace, Benjamin's younger sister, was fanning the flames. Grace, 28, is a social media manager who lives for drama. She'd been texting Daisy, sharing tidbits about our marriage, like how we were always arguing, a total lie. She even posted an Instagram story with a throwback photo of Daisy and Benjamin at a college football game, captioned with something vague about better days. A friend screenshot it and sent it to me, and I felt betrayed. Grace and I were never close. She's all about appearances, always in designer sunglasses and posting curated brunches, but I didn't expect her to sabotage me. This wasn't just my in-laws anymore. It was a family conspiracy to push Daisy back into Benjamin's life. Then there was a third issue, one I didn't see coming. My work started to suffer. I'd been pitching a big project to a local bookstore chain, designing a series of posters for their summer reading campaign. It was a dream gig, but the stress from home was killing my focus. I missed a deadline for the initial mock-ups, and the client emailed me, sounding annoyed. I apologized and scrambled to catch up, but I could feel my confidence slipping. My art is my escape, my way of making sense of the world, and now even that felt tainted. I started doubting myself, wondering if my in-laws were right. Maybe I wasn't good enough for Benjamin, or for anything. The emotional weight was crushing. At night, I'd lie awake, replaying my mother-in-law's words. Daisy was charming, successful, and my in-laws ideal. I caught myself scrolling through her social media one evening, comparing her perfect hospital selfies to my chaotic life, paint on my jeans, deadlines looming. It was a dark moment, and I knew I had to pull myself out. I wasn't going to let this break me. I decided to fight back, but smart. First, I reclaimed my space. I dragged every trash bag back inside, unpacking my books, my art supplies, my clothes. I reorganized the guest room, putting my stamp on it. A canvas I'd painted of our favorite hiking trail went on the wall. If my in-laws wanted a battle, I was ready. Then I sat Benjamin down. "I need you to choose," I said, my voice steady. "Not between me and Daisy, but between me and your parents' control. If you don't set boundaries, this will destroy us." He looked rattled but nodded. "I'm with you, Nora. I'll fix this." I wasn't sure he'd follow through, but it was a start. Confronting my mother-in-law was next. I invited her over, keeping my tone calm but firm. We sat at the kitchen table, coffee mugs untouched. "This is my home," I said. "You don't get to throw out my things or decide who lives here. Daisy isn't moving in." She scoffed, saying I was being dramatic, but I didn't budge. "If you can't respect me, you're not welcome here." It was like pulling a pin from a grenade, but it felt right. She left in a huff, muttering about ungrateful kids, and I knew she'd paint me as the villain to the family. Fine. I'd deal with that. Grace was a different challenge. I didn't want to feed her drama, but I couldn't let her keep stirring the pot. I texted her, keeping it casual but pointed. "Saw your Instagram post. If you've got an issue with me and Benjamin, let's talk." She replied with a half-hearted apology, claiming it was just nostalgia. I didn't believe her, but I let it slide. I also unfollowed her on social media and muted her stories. It wasn't a perfect fix, but it cut off her access to my life. The bookstore project added another layer of stress. After my missed deadline, the client was hesitant, but I poured everything into a new set of mock-ups, staying up late sketching vibrant posters inspired by kids' books. I sent them off with an apology and a promise to stay on track. To my relief, they loved the designs and gave me the green light. It was a small victory, but it reminded me I was still capable, even when my personal life was a mess. Daisy herself was the wild card. I didn't think she was behind this. My in-laws were the puppet masters, but I needed clarity. I messaged her, asking to meet for coffee at a cozy shop downtown. She agreed, and over steaming lattes, I got straight to the point. My in-laws are trying to move you into our house. Did you know? Daisy's eyes widened, genuinely shocked. No way. I'd never agree to that. She explained she was crashing with a friend and had only seen my in-laws because they kept reaching out. I don't want Benjamin back, she said. I'm happy for you guys. I believed her. She seemed embarrassed, not manipulative. She offered to talk to my mother-in-law, but I said I'd handle it. Knowing Daisy wasn't the enemy lifted a weight off my chest. The weeks after finding my belongings in trash bags were a blur of self-doubt. I'd catch myself staring at my reflection in the bathroom mirror, wondering if I'd somehow failed as a wife. My mother-in-law's words echoed in my head. Daisy was better, more polished, more worthy. I started overanalyzing every interaction with Benjamin, like the time he forgot to text me he'd be late from work. Was he pulling away? I even dug out old photos of us from our first year together, searching for signs we'd been happier then. Angela caught me one night, flipping through those pictures, and gave me a gentle nudge. You're enough, Nora, she said. Don't let their nonsense rewrite your story. Her words stuck, but shaking that insecurity took time, and I had to remind myself daily that my worth wasn't tied to their approval. One evening, as I unpacked my art supplies, I remembered a moment from early in our marriage that gave me strength. Benjamin and I had gone camping in the mountains, just the two of us, pitching a tent by a quiet lake. We'd stayed up late, roasting marshmallows and talking about our dreams, mine to design a children's book, his to write a history curriculum that kids would actually love. Under the stars, he'd taken my hand and said, "You make me want to be better, Nora." That memory hit me hard now, a reminder of why we worked. We weren't perfect, but we'd built something real, and no one, not Daisy, not my in-laws, could take that away. I clung to that moment as I faced the chaos, determined to protect what we had. With that sorted, I focused on my marriage. Benjamin and I started couples counseling, something I'd pushed for before but he'd dodged. Our therapist, a warm woman with a knack for cutting through excuses, helped us unpack his family dynamics. Benjamin admitted he'd spent his life avoiding fights with his parents, and it was hurting me. "I don't want to lose you, Nora," he said in one session, his voice cracking. He promised to step up, and he did. He called his parents and laid it out. Daisy wasn't welcome in our home, and they needed to respect me. His mom hung up on him, but his dad sent a text apologizing, which was progress. I also leaned on my best friend, Angela, 33, an accountant with a sharp wit and zero patience for nonsense. She'd come over with takeout pizza and let me rant, tossing in lines like, "Your mother-in-law's got a crush on Daisy, huh?" Her humor kept me grounded, and she reminded me not to let this define me. "You're Nora, the badass who designed that mural for the library," she'd say. "Don't let these people dim your shine." Angela was my lifeline, and our late-night talks helped me laugh through the chaos. Over the next few months, things shifted. My in-laws backed off, though they're still distant. Grace stopped her social media stunts, and Daisy faded into her own life. The bookstore project was a hit, the posters are now in every store, and the client asked me to pitch for their holiday campaign. Benjamin and I grew stronger, setting clearer boundaries with his family. Our home feels like ours again, with my art on the walls and his history books cluttering the shelves. I even started a personal project, a series of illustrations about navigating family drama, channeling my experience into something creative. It's been healing, and I'm pitching it to a local gallery. Reflecting on it now, I'm proud of how I handled this. I could have lashed out or given up, but I fought with strategy, reclaiming my space, confronting the right people, and rebuilding trust with Benjamin. My life's better than it was before this mess. I've got my home, my career, and a husband who's finally learning to stand with me. But I still wonder, did I do enough? Should I have pushed harder with my in-laws, or tried to mend things sooner? If you've dealt with family drama like this, what worked for you? Was I too tough, or not tough enough? I'd love your thoughts, because let's be real, family stuff never fully goes away. The biggest takeaway for me is about resilience and forgiveness. Holding on to anger would have burned me out, but letting go, while still standing my ground, gave me freedom. Forgiveness doesn't mean excusing what they did, it means choosing to move forward without their weight on your shoulders. I'm still learning that balance, but I'm stronger for it, and I'm not done growing yet.
Appreciate you watching. Give it a like, hit subscribe, and catch more drama next time.